Hey, everybody, this is Grant with State of the Spark. If that's even a thing, it's Grant Sparks with the Grant Sparks Show. This is episode 309, and I'm getting my live up here, so you just be patient with me real quick. This is episode 309, and the question that I have for everyone is this: Is 10x actually easier than 3x? Let me put that up there, right there. Ooh, let me cover that screen. Is 10x actually easier than 2x? And how are influencers better positioned for personal development than you are, or the average non-social media user? Is that even a thing? How are influencers better at personal development and social? How are influencers better at personal development and personal growth than the average non-social media user? So this is episode 309. I am super excited to have you here. It's been a little while. I've been busy in the background, but I cannot share quickly enough all the things that have been going on in our life. But the one thing I've really been paying close attention to is I continue to pay close attention to personal development. I continue to pay close attention to personal growth. And no one does it better than social media users. Good morning, Alice. I hope you're doing great. This is Alice Renee. Good morning. How you doing? Let me turn this fan off real quick. So today's show is 10xing something much easier than 2xing something? We've been listening to that powerful book. If you've not listened to the book yet, by all means, check it out. We're going to cover that, but I really want to cover this. If you are a regular social media user, if you are an influencer, if you are a creator, I literally believe, people blowing me up there. I literally believe you have an advantage for personal development and personal growth over those who do not. Boom, let me pull that down. Over those who do not do social media. We're going to cover that a little bit today. But before we do anything, if you've ever seen a single show of State of the Spark or the Grant Spark Show, we start every single one of our shows with one thing, and that is simply this: morning cup of gratitude. So if you are watching on Instagram here, Facebook here, Twitch over here, wherever you're at, grab a morning cup of coffee, grab your morning tea, or if you're driving, be very careful. But I want to hear in the comments. I want you to comment here on Instagram. I want you to comment here on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're at. And I want to hear what you're grateful for. What are you grateful for? If you cannot find a piece of gratitude, you are not starting this day right. And I start the show. I start every single one of my days with a morning cup of gratitude. In fact, I called it, got a little coffee there. I called it gratitude on my mug so that when I sip, I am reminded to think of what I'm grateful for, because you don't go for gratitude after the thing. You use gratitude to enter into the thing. You enter a state of gratitude, and that puts your mind in a state where you are actually ready to receive the things that you are out there trying to receive. Maybe it's health, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's better cash flow, maybe it's just being at peace with yourself and being at peace with your life. That all happens and begins with gratitude. So go ahead, take a time and listen. You think I'm exaggerating here. If you cannot take the time to put what you're grateful for in these comments, you're not ready to enter into a heart of gratitude, because you are being offered the opportunity. This is like standing in line somewhere and someone says, hey, what are you grateful for? If you resist, you have resistance to expressing gratitude. Take this as your opportunity, and I'm going to start. I am absolutely grateful for a variety of things. I'm grateful that we pushed through when everything in the world was resisting us. By that, what I mean is this: it was not easy to launch the Influencer Academy. For those of you who don't know, we've spent the last 6 months building and launching the Influencer Academy at theinfluenceracademy.com. Super proud of that. It is growing right now on average by about 5 people a day. It's barely manageable. In fact, we were thinking about closing off enrollment and just focusing on the people we currently had. It has been blowing up. So that window of enrollment is going to close soon. We're super grateful for the growth in Spark sites. We've been acquiring clients that are asking us for larger and larger packages. Normally we do $500 websites that we do as online media kits for creators like Alice Renee or whoever is coming into our orbit through the Influencer Academy, or small businesses just starting out. We've done very affordable packages for them. And those have been about $400, $500. We had a client come in and 10x with us, and that client is about $4,000 a month, give or take. And they're a social media client. Clients like this are coming to us left and right. the illustrious Nicole Bradham has jumped on and she says, I'm grateful for a good cup of coffee and friends willing to work with me on my crazy schedule and make time together to make that happen. So we know what she's talking about. This is my awesome partner, Nicole. We've partnered companies. So that was my other update of Morning Cup of Gratitude. My own cup of gratitude in this vein is with the Hot Mod Influencer Agency, which Nicole has built on her own for many years. We have now partnered and merged our companies, but Hot Mod and Spark Sites are still their own brands. And Hot Mod continues to thrive. We renewed with a major travel destination client. We're looking in conversations with several other travel destinations, and we're grateful that those conversations go forward. We also have awesome influencer clients and awesome brand clients that we're working with on that side. So needless to say, deep breath. Needless to say, it has been about, in our case, 8 months of partnering and working really hard. And I am grateful that the fruit of that is starting to show itself on every end. Now, let me tie this into today's topic. Is 10x easier than 2x? And do social media users and influencers specifically have an advantage in personal development? And I think yes. And it is typified even by the journey of what we're talking about in Morning Cup of Gratitude and how rapidly, and I put that in air quotes, rapidly we feel like we're growing because behind the scenes, it is very difficult. There's a lot going on. It costs a lot. We're putting a lot on the line. We had one of our, just as a inside reveal of building in the open, we had one of our highest credit card bills we've ever had in the history of our companies 2 weeks ago, because it takes something to get there. And so when you see 10x growth, is it easier? Oh my gosh, Alice Renee jumps in and she says she is grateful for wake-up calls, blessings in disguise. So it sounds like a wake-up call is not always an easy thing to endure, Alice. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably. But they're blessings in disguise. And that attitude shift that Alice, she's on Instagram, she's watching on Instagram, that attitude shift of, I'm going to look at this as a blessing in disguise. Alice, I don't know you that well, I don't think, but what I do know about you is that you are positioned for success because you have the mechanism to take wake-up calls, challenges, and turn them into blessings in disguise. Thank you for sharing your gratitude this morning. So let's move forward with the show. A few quick notes I want to share with you because listen, there's so much craziness going on in the news. I'm going to give you a minute or less of what's going on in the news, that stuff that you need to pay attention to. 30 seconds or less. Number one, the Perseid meteor showers up there. Listen, if you have not walked out in the middle of the night or middle of the morning and looked at meteors shooting every time of the year, you are lacking perspective. If you think that everything that you should be paying attention to is happening in the middle of the day and it's the headlines and it's this, that, or the other, when you step outside and see a meteor shower, look up into the night sky and see stars and planets, it gives you perspective that, you know what? Not all of this is as important as people want me to believe it is. It gives you perspective. It takes you out of your context and allows you to breathe a sigh of relief and remember, you know what? This is all kind of a game. And sometimes it's tragic. Sometimes it's wake-up calls. Sometimes it's crazy schedules like Nicole is talking about here. Sometimes it's the challenges of business. But when you step outside, I know that I do at 3:30 in the morning when I head to the gym to get there by 4, I normally look up every single time, and I take at least a few seconds to look up and get perspective that it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Perseid meteor shower. Go enjoy it. Another fun fact, I'm going to drop this in the comments wherever you're watching the show. If it's Facebook, if it's LinkedIn, if it's YouTube, there's the link to this next statement. Drinking 2 cups of coffee a day keeps Alzheimer's away. There's even more studies that say if you are drinking more than 2 cups of coffee a day, it delays cognitive decline. There's an article. Again, I just put the article link in there that went to Twitch and to YouTube. If you're on Facebook, actually, let me see if I'm on the Facebook Live. So if you're watching on Facebook, you at least get it there. Alice Renee, I won't have that link for you on Instagram, but I'll drop it on Facebook. If you care to see the reference, good morning, Rut Patel. Like the show over here on Facebook. Good morning. Good to see you, Rut. I have not seen Rut in forever, but I'm super glad to see him. And there's the link right there to that article. Why do I share that with you? Listen, I get some hate for how much coffee I drink. I think if I continue with my coffee consumption, I will keep Alzheimer's away at least for 2 life sentences because I'm doing okay, folks, on the coffee front. And lastly, I want to share this last piece with you from the Hagakure. Listen, why do I do this? Because there are so many inputs out there that are rapid inputs. And I believe you should be reading real books, A, for your eyesight, but B, there's a book out there called Thinking Fast and Slow. And this book is a phenomenal book on, of course, thinking fast and slow. Nearly all of life wants you to think fast. Thinking slow informs the fast thinking. I think very quickly. I think on the fly, and Nicole knows this about me. Amber, my team member, knows this about me. They know that when I am encountering a situation, I think very quickly. Why is that? Is it because of all the coffee I drank? No, my brain's already revving at that level. It's because of the slow thinking I do. I fill my brain. I make sure I take my mornings to, whether it's working out or taking a slow morning like I had this morning, it's taking the time to fill your brain with meaningful stuff. I know that Nicole, on her way to the gym, she's listening to audiobooks. Thinking fast and slow. Thinking slow informs your ability to think fast. Real quick, let me read this for you. This is from a book from the 1600s, written by a samurai. I read it as a meditation. I've gone through it several times. I read Think and Grow Rich multiple times over. I read the Hagakure several times, multiple times over. And it says this: no matter what it is, there is nothing that cannot be done. This was written by a samurai in the 1600s. He didn't know about space travel. He didn't know about traveling to the moon, for all we know. No matter what it is, there is nothing that cannot be done. If one manifests what? Determination. If one manifests the determination, he or she can move heaven and earth as they please. Because man is pluckless. It's not a word we use often in the English language. Basically, because man has no commitment. Man lacks determination. Mankind in this case. Because mankind, men and women generally, lack true grit. We lack true determination. They cannot set their mind to move heaven and earth. Think about this. We're watching the Olympics right now. The Olympics are phenomenal to watch. I love watching the Olympics because you get to see someone and the twinkle in their eye when they click over and commit to winning. You get to see this in action around the Olympics, but because we run businesses, we also get to see this in businesses. Because I'm a personal development coach and because I work with so many people from a personal development perspective, and because God bless Nicole for sticking with me, we're around each other so much for the businesses we do. She is the recipient of so much challenging of, are you actually committed to this? Are you ready to actually go the distance? And a samurai said this, gosh, over 500 years ago, when they said, no matter what it is, there's nothing that cannot be done. If one manifests the determination, he or she can move heaven and earth as they please. But because mankind is generally commitmentless and pluckless, they cannot set their mind to it. Moving heaven and earth without putting forth effort is simply a matter of focus. Focus stands for what? Follow one course until successful. The word focus is also an anagram. Is that the right phrase? For follow one course until successful. And that leads us into our lesson today very quickly on whether or not 10x is easier than 2x and why. How does this connect to influencers are better at personal development? People who use social media in general are better at personal development than those who do not. We're going to cover that. So real quick, in the book, 10x is easier than 2x by Dan Sullivan and his co-writer, I forget his name. They contend in this book, and it's worth a read, that 10x is easier than 2x, mainly because of this one fact. You could listen to the book, and it is phenomenal. But if you had the Grant Sparks notes, we're going to create the Sparks notes right here. I'm going to just read books and summarize them for you so that you don't have to read them. But I do recommend you do. Mainly it's because of this. When you choose to make the changes necessary to start 10xing, and the living example is with Spark Sites. Yes, we still build websites for $500, but we are also onboarding clients now in the $5,000 range. That's a 10x leap. There's major changes that have to occur to make that happen. There's new systems that we have to put in place. There's new sales pitches that we have to put in place. When we start selling social media packages and search engine optimization packages and reels creation and content creation packages for a client at $5,000, which we're doing now, Because we do that, that demands new systems. There's massive changes that have to happen. And on top of that, when I stand in front of someone at a networking meeting, or when I go to the coffee shop and someone says, "What do you do?" I have to say, we build websites and launch social media. I have to figure out that new sales pitch. I have to present myself differently. And when I tell someone we can present social media at $5,000, guess what they're going to look at? They're going to look at my social media account. So that's got to change. 10x is easier than 2x is the premise of a powerful book. And they challenge you to simply make the change. And I said this, the summary of the entire book is this. You have to put yourself out there right now and make the changes now instead of waiting for the changes to occur. What? I have to just make these changes now. Yep. Spark Sites as a web design company has been testing for years price changes. And we went from, I think it was 15. Actually, we started at a $500 price point 13 years ago. 13 years ago. And then we went up and eventually started doing $1,500 websites and $2,500 websites. Now, those are simply 2x changes. And the book 10x is easier than 2x. I'm just going to call it the 10x book from here forward. The 10x book actually says that's just 2x growth. And it is. We went from $500 to $1,000. And we thought, wow, we're exponentially changing. We're doubling. And then we went to $1,500. And that wasn't exactly a double. It was a 1.5 change. And then we jumped to $2,500. And it was like huge. We've done some $3,000 websites. Yes. In fact, I've done a $12,000 website, but that was a one-off. We didn't really sell it or change. But I've been hoping for the public to understand our value and for us to be able to incrementally, or what's known as accretive change, slowly change our price points and ask for more. But I've heard for years, decades now, that we just need to change our price point and 10x it. The book, the 10x book, 10x is easier than 2x, simply says this: change now. Put your price tag out there now. Change your pitch immediately. Do not wait. Do not hone it. Do not put it through a focus group. Do not ask the public and do feedback loops. Change it now. And the premise of the book is this: to encounter the challenges of change more rapidly. The conflict that the public will give you. If you change your look and feel, if you've been wearing long hair your whole life and suddenly cut it short and you are like, oh my God, I don't know what people will think. Imagine if you've charged only $1,000 for websites for the last 10 years and that's your reputation, and suddenly you charge $5,000 for a website. And we know it's more than a website. There's a lot more going on under the hood. But imagine how your public will change. If you've been charging $20 a month for hosting and you suddenly charge $250 a month for hosting, which we faced, it's a real example that we faced with Spark Sites. Imagine how your clients would quit you, leave. I'll just go find GoDaddy hosting or whatever. The reason most business owners don't make these changes is because they're hoping that they can slowly make these changes over time and that they can endure the conflict of that change and that the public will simply accept their change. I know a guy, we'll say his name is Tony, and he used to live in our hometown and he wanted to make some massive life changes. And he had the insight to simply change cities and rescript who they are. Good morning. Make it happen, Marco. I hope you're doing fantastic this morning. I see you on Instagram over here. We're live on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, wherever you're at. But thanks for dropping by. I appreciate you. And we're talking about why 10x is easier than 2x. So Tony had the insight to make this change, and that made it easier to rewrite who he is. And quite often, if you get mentoring on this, they will tell you, change cities. Not only because you need to plant yourself where you're going to be celebrated, but also because you can simply rescript who you are. This is the premise of 10x is easier than 2x. You will never get there to that $1 million payday, to that dream relationship, to that business doing what it needs to be doing, to traveling the way you want to travel. They say this: don't wait for the trip to stumble upon you. Just go book the ticket. What you're talking about is 10x changes. So here's the premise that I want you to take away and how we're going to bridge to why influencers and those who use social media are better at personal development than you. Think of the personal development that has to happen when you take a business from 2x to 10x. When you take a website design example of selling website design for $500 and suddenly start charging $5,000. Think of the personal development, the personal growth. You are confronted with imposter syndrome. You are confronted with whether or not you think your services are worth it. You're confronted with whether or not you actually have the ability to deliver a $5,000 website. You are confronted with your fears. You are confronted with how people-pleasing you are. You are confronted with how ego-dependent your current low-price, low-ticket business model is. Your schedule is wide open. Anyone can book themselves on your schedule. And so that's just who you are. That's who you've always been. You don't want to make that change. When you try to go 10X, you're confronted with that. The premise of the 10X books is to face all of that right now, and you will rapidly personal develop. You will rapidly face your fears. You will rapidly enter the practical conflicts just like this, but you'll find out you can survive that. You'll find out that it's okay. You'll find out that, yes, you will encounter everything you're afraid of encountering, but you will survive. That is what personal development is. It's looking at the thing you are afraid of becoming and doing, encountering it, making the changes, and realizing, why didn't I do this sooner? That's what business does to you if you will let it. If you don't let it, you will become a mom and pop business who's been here for 25 years and can't find their kids to take over their business because it's uninteresting, because you're not growing. Nicole jumps in here. Thanks for sticking with me, Nicole, and says, when you 10X, you have to face your fears, and that's good because then you actually grow. And listen, folks, if you let yourself read between the lines, you will remember that when you do business, you're actually talking about personal development. The reason I've been in business for as long as I've been in business is not just because I want to make more money and do business. It's a little bit of autonomy. Notice I didn't say freedom, because business is very not about freedom all the time. You're chained to it in many ways. But no matter what, I am consistently faced with my own internal fears and concerns, and I am personally growing all the time. So what does this mean for influencers? Part of the reason that I partnered with Nicole, she had an influencer company, and I have been enamored. I've been creating content now. This is episode 309 of the Spark Show alone. Before that, I had the Not Crypto Bro show. We did over 104 episodes of the Not Crypto Bro show. I've been content creating since 2004 when I put out a blog of my travels around the world, 2005 with Semester at Sea. And in that blog, I was very vulnerable about my challenges with the church and what I was learning from my world travels around the church. I was putting myself out there and welcoming the conflict at the time, my church community did not like those posts at all. I was challenged with those when I returned back to the United States. In fact, challenged so much, I had to leave my hometown and move to Lakeland, Florida. I was in Vero Beach, Florida. I moved to Lakeland, Florida to start fresh and start with a new community and to learn them. Then I moved to the Dominican Republic and started a YouTube channel called The Rookie Missionary. And I still wanted to do public service, and I was doing public service, but I was putting my content out there. But what I learned is there was so much conflict. It was so challenging to create the content. It was so challenging to explain to the locals why I was walking around with a GoPro camera. It was so challenging to explain to my public on why I was so vulnerable about putting hangers in toilets and dealing with tarantulas and dealing with locals and being afraid that missionary work wasn't cutting so hot. And then when I actually changed my opinion about missionary work and realized this is not doing the locals any good, and I stopped, imagine what my missionary community said. I've been doing content for a long time. And I believe it's the ultimate form of marketing, because it's vulnerable and your message gets out there and people could decide if they want to stick with you or not, like that. Now, talking head podcasts like this or vlogs like this are a little bit different than what we mean with social media with a business, obviously, but there's still elements of vulnerability. There's still elements of connection. There's still elements of you being challenged. Do I actually have anything to say? My point is, we've been doing content for a while, and I haven't really used or worked with an influencer company because I wasn't sure what sort of marketing to bring my small business clients who I have a passion for small business owners just starting out who have no capital. I have a passion to give them all the tools they need so that they can focus on their message. They can focus on their vision. They can focus on communicating and selling and delivering instead of obsessing about websites. That was the premise of Spark Sites when we started. How do we get them affordable websites? Get them up and running so that they can quit focusing on web tech and start focusing on sales and delivery. That's what we started with. And I wanted to do the same thing with marketing. And so I finally made the leap into marketing when Nicole Bradham came into my life with Hot Mod Influencer Agency, and we welcomed influencers into our world because I believe influencer marketing is approachable by every small business. It's affordable, it's leveraged, it has higher click-through rates. In the end, it met my core values for small business owners. But I've started to learn this. It's the best social media position. It's the best personal development position to be in any other personal development situation. To be on social media and to be doing, whether you're doing influencer work or not, if you're doing content creation of any kind, it's the best personal development situation you could find yourself in for several reasons. Number one, you are suddenly faced with a mirror. Not only do you see the camera, I see my little camera right here and it's reflecting back at me. I see my little camera right here. It's showing me, how do I look? Do I like how I look? It's a mirror. Not only that, are people going to hit the like button? Are they going to stick around for the show? Do I have anything to say? The number one thing, social media is a mirror. Just like the 10X book, when you say, am I ready to take the price point of my business from $500 to $5,000, you're suddenly faced with a mirror. And that mirror raises several questions. So number one, social media is a mirror. It doesn't matter what other people are saying, but it totally matters what other people are saying because it's a mirror. Do I like how people respond to me? So it's a mirror. You're confronted very quickly with how much you like yourself. Number two, it makes you ask the question, do I have anything to contribute? Do I have anything entertaining to say? Do I have anything intellectual to contribute? Am I actually the thinker I think I am? Am I actually as articulate as I think I am? Am I actually as consistent as I think I am? Do I actually, and I just met an Influencer Academy student yesterday who is deaf. So he does sign. And he's faced with a question. And that question is even as a deaf person, can I contribute? Nicole adds, social media is a mirror. This is going to be a quote post. Get it, girl. We're going to post that ASAP. We're going to take a screenshot and put a little quote over it, and we'll post it on Threads. Social media is a mirror. And I don't mean this judgy, superficial mirror, though it can be that. For the average social media user who's like, should I post this or shouldn't I? The mirror you are facing is not external judgment. The mirror you are facing, this is what makes it a mirror. You are judging yourself before the public even gets to you. Your fears of the public. This is the first hurdle of finding your voice, or in my deaf person's example, him finding his expression, which is through ASL or Korean Sign Language, KSL. He gives people tours. He is finding a way to contribute even with a disability. So the first thing is social media is a mirror. The second thing is, do you have anything to contribute? Thank you for this, Sheena. Sheena Silva says social media is an open window to any business. I've always said that. And Sheena, you are dead on, because small businesses or consumers, B2B or B2C, they are shopping with, can I look in the window and see what you're up to? Can I walk down Main Street, our social media platforms, and wipe the window, our social media accounts, and see what we're up to, and do I like it? So many business owners are missing this. Thank you for this, Sheena. This is totally true. The third thing it says is this: can you handle conflict? If you can get over the self-judgmental hump of, I don't know if I should post this, I don't know how it looks, you are judging yourself more than the public ever has. Once you get over that and start posting, then you're faced with a question of, do I have anything to contribute? Then the third thing is can I handle conflict? Most of you are avoiding posting on social media because you can't handle what you perceive to be a conflict. You know, we have a very hypersensitive society today. I won't even call it a generation. It's not a generational thing. Society overall is hypersensitive. They're going to judge me. They're going to, unpopular opinion. How many times do people start a sentence with unpopular opinion? And the truth is it's not risky at all. It's something everyone else thinks. They're just in their head about it. Unpopular opinion. They say it all the time. The truth is you are more afraid of conflict than actually having the conflict. What I mean is you're more afraid of the fear. The anxiety of the conflict is psyching you out. Whereas if someone comes and say, hey, I think I disagree with that. But we are so sensitive. We think that's going to crush our brand. We think that's going to crush our soul. No, if anything, if Sheena would have come in here and said, hey, I disagree. I don't think social media is that great for personal development. I'd be like, okay. And I could then have something to shape myself off of. Jersey Jack 95, I hope you're doing so great. Thanks for stopping by this morning. So for me, social media from a personal development perspective allows you to face the fact of whether or not you can handle conflict. Now, introverts, extroverts, it doesn't matter. Introverts or extroversion doesn't matter. A lot of you are using introversion to avoid conflict. I think you need to be better at facing conflict. Sheena says, commercial post to personal. Some are afraid of that and have basic posts rather than personal posts. That's right. There's these very superficial quote graphics that people are just throwing out there. And they're like, well, I'm just going to post. Sheena says, I'm a mess and I show it. And guess what? That will attract your type of client, Sheena. It will. There will be people who are like the messy mom trend. Listen, I'm not a have it all together mom. Save that for the balanced culture. Save that for whoever is there's a messy mom culture that says, hey, I'm getting by. And you know what? I like myself. So if you can accept that social media is a mirror of yourself, not other people, yourself and all of your fears that come up when you think about posting, you need to sit with that. And then ask yourself, do I have anything to contribute? Doesn't matter if you're a mess like Sheena's being honest about, you still have something to contribute. Hey, this is how I psychologically deal with my mess. I can't help. I don't have time for the mess. So here's how I deal with that. I still put myself out there, whatever that is. Do you have something to contribute, say, articulate? And if you don't, step up to that challenge and develop something to contribute and say. Number 3, can you handle conflict? Listen, just like the 10X book, 10X is easier than 2X. There is a conflict. There is a conflict that comes when you make that change and you are procrastinating the conflict. So when you procrastinate conflict, you are procrastinating the way you are supposed to be personally developing right now. The universe wants you to grow in a certain way, and it's facing your conflict. I'm not talking about a particular outcome. Maybe you have a difficult relationship that you need to end. I'm not saying the outcome is going to be good or bad or preferred or not preferred. I'm saying that the universe needs you to face that conflict, because whether or not that conversation or that encounter causes you to separate in this example or stay together, it doesn't matter. You would have grown. Whether you're supposed to increase your price from 500 to 1,000 as my example, or launch the Influencer Academy like we did, whether or not that's supposed to succeed or fail doesn't matter. The universe wanted me to grow in a way of launching into something new. I needed to learn those lessons. Now, fortunately, it's winning. We're growing by 5 to 10 people a day in Influencer Academy. It's unmanageable. And this is why this is on top of mind for me right now. Number 1, social media's mirror. Number 2, do you have anything to contribute? Number 3, can you handle conflict? And number 4, do not miss this. Thank you so much for sticking around for this. You cannot miss it. This is the last one. Number 4, this is it. Social media reveals your path to you more quickly. If you can get through the first 3, if you can and face the challenge that social media is a mirror and encounter yourself in that, then start loving yourself. Then ask yourself, do I have anything to contribute? Are people engaging with my stuff? Are people sticking around? Are they liking it? Are they sharing it? Are they commenting on it? Well, that's a popularity game. No, it's a value game. Are you adding value? Number 3, then can you handle conflict? Because you're going to get haters. I hate the fact you raised your price. Put your price down to $500. Your service isn't worth it. Great. They don't understand it. Am I ready for that conflict? You used to be the guy with long hair. Why are you the guy with short hair? You used to be the guy that was thin. Why are you the guy with muscles? You used to be the guy that wear pants. Why are you wearing shorts? Boom. I hope the Influencer Academy members share it. Nicole, go ahead and share this to the Facebook community over there. You can just click share and actually add it to the Influencer Academy. Boop, 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 boop. Thanks so much. Number 4, it reveals your path more quickly. Here's what I mean by that. All of you are looking for joy and happiness in a path. Marissa, in my life, Marissa took a little bit of time to start posting on her one account, Spark Explore. She wanted to take girls hiking and take them and give people the gift of hiking. And when she realized something about that wasn't for her, it shaped her path more quickly, right? It shapes your path quickly. Nicole herself was posting a bunch of memes on her Hot Mod account, a bunch of memes on her personal account, and suddenly she found a very relatable trend, and now she gets 40,000 views on her personal account. Go follow her, Nicole Bradham. She posts very relatable content. It's getting between 10, 20, 30,000 views. It's getting tens of thousands of shares. Now, it's a popularity contest. She's also finding her voice. She also loves that path. She loves that relatability. Guess what she started posting on there as a vulnerable challenge? Her workouts. Social media isn't about finding your social media path. Social media, if you can encounter the first things I mentioned previously, you will quickly find. You'll find your IRL path. Because if you start posting like Marissa did about hiking and Spark Explorer, but don't really like it, you're going to shape your path. She got rid of something. We did the Not Crypto Bros. We did over 100 episodes of Not Crypto Bros. And we loved jamming with our buddies on a live, but we didn't like having to deliver the same type of content every single day. And we decided to cancel it, even though we had a huge following. We had a huge following. Good morning, real Chris McLaughlin. Hope you're doing fantastic. So social media helps you find not just your social media path. Social media helps you find your IRL path because you also bounce off of what you don't like very quickly. I know people that post very political stuff. They will discover if they like that conflict very quickly or not. I have continued to post personal development content like today's episode, and I will the rest of my life because I put it out there. And I know that I like the conflict. I know that I like the content. I know that whether my community is big, whether my following likes it that day, I learn very quickly they don't like that topic. So let me dive into other topics. I love the feedback loop. So social media has allowed me to reveal my path. In the example of the Rookie Missionary in 2013, I started a whole YouTube channel called The Rookie Missionary. I found out in just a few weeks, I do not like that path in real life. Because of the content I was pushing out there and having to think through content, realize I don't have anything to say here. Do I want to have something to say here? Actually, no, I don't even want to perpetuate this world. And you realize that when you start putting out content, and then you're having to face yourself to change. So the personal development growth of me pivoting and finding my authentic voice is powerful. Social media users and influencers and social media users, if you are wielding it and committing to it, you are committing to a more rapid personal development. Now, maybe you don't want to grow that fast. I get it. I mentioned Marissa before. She doesn't like to be on social media much. When she really does post on social media, you trust that she has found something she absolutely loves. For the rest of us, when we post as frequently as we do, you can trust that we are doing personal development at a rapid clip. For those small business owners, you are avoiding facing yourself and the state of your business. You're avoiding marketing. You're avoiding the fact that you're not listening to your clients. You're avoiding the fact that you are not responding to the market, my man, my woman. And what you're avoiding and procrastinating is your business and your marketing might be on a lifeline if you're not careful. Well, I get plenty of referrals for now. But if you are not adjusting, if you're not adjusting your voice, and if you are not facing the fact that you have something to say or don't say, that you're actually passionate about that pest control company that you have, do you have something to say? I am super proud of my current client, Kevin Blanks with Superior Spray. Super proud of him. And we finally said yes to taking them on as a social media client because he said this one line. Grant, you might think it's crazy, but I think I want to start a podcast about pest services called, and I won't give the name away until we launch it. I won't give the name away. This client owns the fact that it matters and it behooves them to go live from a content perspective. Listen, my summary for today, and I'll let you get about your business. I truly believe my good friend Adam, who's been a partner in business for years, we have not nearly been as close as I would have liked, but we are both on trajectories that I believe in. Adam spends nearly all of his time now that he's built. He's built any free time he's built with his businesses, and he's done very well. Any of the free time he's built with his businesses, he now spends making music. He's following his path, and he's using social media to do it. I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of those of you who, whether you might be introverted or extroverted, though you might not like social media because you don't like where it's taking society, that's fine. But use that to shape your path. The summary today, I believe influencers are moving at a 10x clip in personal development. It's the 10x secret to personal development is get on social media. Look at yourself. Look at social media as a mirror. Face your fears. Ask yourself if you have any value to add. And if you don't, get to the business of finding the value you want to add in the world because you have a voice. Everyone does. Number 3, be ready for conflict because if your voice is distinct and ready to go, you'll get conflict. And number 4, accept the fact that you will reveal your path more quickly because of it. Listen, Why am I talking about any of this? Because it's in my face. We're launching Influencer Academy. Please check it out, theinfluenceracademy.com. We're doing a lot of good things. If you need help with social media, reach out to Spark Sites or HotMod. Reach out to us on socials. But no matter what you do today, I want you to remember the mission: igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have a great day.